Hey guys, what's going on? It's Coshade, and I am here commenting on the Mage Wars playtesting tournament for Monk and Elementalist. We're doing promo cards for this release, and we just had a sort of mini tournament. It wasn't as big as our normal tournaments, and I think it's because everyone's going back to school and stuff like that. But we have a couple games that I think we have 4 games total. And we're going to be looking to have another tournament, so we'll probably just put this all into one big playtest file. But this game is between Keejchen and SirMagic, and I think SirMagic is new because I haven't actually seen. I haven't seen him around an octagon, which I mean, based on what Keej is saying, so you'll place the equipment, etc. Here, it sounds like he's pretty new. Which, to be honest, um, new players to octagon generally puts the person that knows Octagon at a higher level of skill. And I say that because Octagon is like a worldwide meta, and everyone has kind of crushed everybody else so many times in Octagon that, like, when you verse someone that's not an Octagon player, you're like, oh, the meta's way beyond what you know. That being said, good luck to both. Keejchen playing the Druid, which, of course, the Druid has been tuned to channel 10, which he should have 11 channel right now. I basically joined in these games, not necessarily as an active judge, but just to make sure I got the recordings, and if they had issues, they would Discord me. That being said, the way that we're playtesting right now, he should have 11, which maybe Keejchen fixes later, I'm not sure. But it's kind of a weird thing. Anyway, we're in the planning phase for round 2. Looks like the Necromancer has the Libra and Death Ring out. This is actually my preferred Necromancer, because I prefer actually having mobile skeletons and then popping down the zombie brutes in specific spots that I want to hold in zone control. But that's just how I like Necro. And it looks like Keejchen choosing to go with the Tattery and Vine Tree, of course. Tattery is... I mean, it's a quick cast. That was a weird yawn. That was a weird sound effect. It's a quick cast. Pseudo mana crystal, pseudo something else. It's really hard to kill. It's always funny putting a bear strength on it and killing things with a butterfly. But really, it costs an extra mana. I think that's why a lot of people sort of shy away from it. But the fact that you can get it as a quick cast, I think, gives it a huge edge. A lot of people just choose to go mana flower, but Keita just choosing to pay the extra mana, probably to have the. The attack option's one thing, but to have the mobility of this could also indicate that he's going to do some sort of spore type of thing. But I don't know. He probably won't. And we see the Mana Lotus come out of the Vine Tree. Again, he's ramping up his mana as much as possible here. A Skeletal Archer comes out for SirMagic's Necromancer. And he puts an Eternal Servant on this. A lot of people put Eternal Servant on the Skeletal Archer because they want the Piercing 1 in their bow attack, which I think is pretty strong. I mean, the ability to Resurrect is obviously good. Or Reanimate, I should say. It's one of those things that now he's pretty safe in zones 1 to 2. But, I mean, the Druid with her vines can really catch up really quickly. Interesting enough, not spreading vines twice. Going at a really slow pace. I like that about Keejchen. The Mana Crystal does go down for SirMagic, putting his channel up to 11. So he's actually channeling an insane amount. There's 1 on Libro, a potential 2 on Death Ring, and 1 on Mana Crystal. He's really ramping up as well. This is really common in the first few phases. And let's see. Necromancer's action. He's going to move. So let's go and just see what action he does here. I'll talk about this Vine in a second here. What this Vine usually indicates is that you're not looking at an aggressive Druid. He's going to give you a few turns, and he doesn't want to spend the mana getting out there. There's the Mana Flower, ramping up a bit more as Druid. But if you see the double Vine, and then another 2 Vines advance, choosing not to do anything with his action. Wow. SirMagic skipping his action. He has, I guess he only had 2 mana. But, sort of interesting there. So yeah, I mean, when a Druid doesn't spread her vines actively to a round, you know you're probably a little safe for the time being. But that mana that they save up could be for something bigger, like a Krelthor, or maybe some sort of animal, like a bear, or something like that. Like those little savings of mana can really indicate a lot. Anyway, looks like we have some time. Let's go ahead and just go to times 25. Let them get through this phase of planning. And we are in the deployment phase here. So we're going to go times 2 this. Zombie Crawler does come out for the Necromancer. Keejchen choosing to. Looks like he's going to. What? Is there a vine here? Oh, no, he placed it in his Druid zone. So he chose to actually get out there with his second move, so he didn't have to worry about another vine token here. That's kind of interesting. It kind of saved him an extra mana. Huh. Kind of like that play. It does expose your Druid a little bit, but, I mean, honestly, Druid doesn't worry too much about initial damage because of the fact that you can Bark Skin, transfer 2 life. Like, Druid's actually pretty tanky. Interesting. So Skeletal Mage does activate and does move forward. This is actually really good for Keejchen. This Skeletal Mage obviously wants to get within range 2, but the ability to now advance another one, and then next round have initiative advance into the Skeletal Archer zone, that's pretty nice. And of course we have the Idle Pestilence, sort of like dividing the attention here from SirMagic. I do like that play a lot. In terms of how he wants to position this. Man, I just, every time I verse Druid, I'm just always afraid of the ganking that happens. Where the Thorn Lasher abducts you and then just kills stuff. Skeletal Archer's actually pretty pretty pathetic in terms of survivability for an 11 cost creature. So we'll have to see what happens there. Again, the Necromancer moving, not taking any spell actions, only has 2 mana left. So he could have done a curse, but chooses not to. And this looks like what he wants to do is lay down a Deathlock here, which I don't actually think affects too much. But, I mean, this Butterfly could die, which, for the price of Idle, is decent. But basically, the Druid, he doesn't take any damage because Keejchen just transfers it to the tree, as he says right here. And the tree has regen 2, so it takes a damage from Idle. Druid takes a damage, transfers, and then it regens 2. And the Druid has the ability to sort of keep up with that. So we see a really aggressive Druid, basically, right now. Interesting enough, can now spread a free vine here. And as long as that vine tree can see it, which there's nothing blocking it, he'll be able to sprout something here. My guess is we'll see some sort of plant creature that's, like a vine snapper or something. Just to chill here. Oh no, he's gonna play a Krelthor. Okay, that's cool. So he basically spread a vine here. And then chose to cast Krelthor. Krelthor is going to eat up this zombie crawler. It has 6 dice versus 4 life. I mean, granted, it's resilient, so it may not die, but, they're generally going to be killed. And there's the Deathlock play. And this is normally actually a pretty intimidating play, these two. But Druid actually deals with this pretty well. Keejchen does go in for the attack on the Idol. Reveals a Bear Strength that his Druid does 4 damage. Solid play. I mean, Keejchen has 12 mana. I'm wondering if he could have quick cast something to give himself extra damage, like, I don't know, a staff or something. Mage staff is pretty common with Druid. That being said, it's okay. The Skeletal Archer does shoot a Krelthor. Piercing 1 does deal 1 damage. And, of course, now he's Deathlocked, so he can't regen. And he's going to take Idle Pestilence damage. But I imagine that this Idol's going to be pretty... Gonna get taken up pretty soon. We do have a Zombie Crawler rolling out the Druid. Zombie Hide. Rhino Hide gets revealed on the Druid, putting Druid up to 2 armor. Zombie Crawler does still get 2 damage through off of 2 dice, which is actually, dang, that's a nice roll. I'm gonna drink some water here. And it looks like, oh no, SirMagic says he doesn't have anything with his Necro's action. And it looks like Reclamation gets cast on Deathlock. Great spell. This came out with the Druid, I believe, Academy. And this is just a really solid way of dealing with Deathlock. It's just, I'm going to damage it over time to make sure that this thing goes down. And Deathlock doesn't really have that much life. So you're probably going to get 4 damage on it by spending, 5 mana from Reclamation. And then he can kill with just melee attacks, which is it's a decent trade when you think about it. Considering Deathlock has 2 mana, I have to disagree with SirMagic here, not using his Necromancer. He could have come in and at least punched the Druid. But instead, chooses to chill, not even guard. Really interesting move there. And we will see 2 damage go on this Druid here. Because he wanted to transfer 2 to heal, but now he's going to... I'm sorry, 1. So the idol is going to deal a damage. Which, he's at 3 damage now. I guess he's not transferring. These should all have a damage on them, too. I'm sure he's going to do it in a second. Okay. I guess he's not going to. All right. I'm sorry. It's just creatures that take damage. So, no, this is right. My bad. Okay, so he didn't transfer the damage to the tree, basically, because it can't heal. So we do see a Skeletal Knight come out. Interesting choice. I actually love Skeletal Knight. It deals insane damage. We did see the Gen Con, what was it, 2019 tournament, Sharkbait, just crush people with this card. As I said, I do like skeletons in my Necro, and this is, I used to take at least 1 Knight. SirMagic asking how to cast enchantments. Let's see, is it going to be a curse? How do I target it? And enchantment? Okay, so he's going to dispel. He does choose Bear Strength. Very nice choice, bringing the Druid down to 3 damage then. And let's see. Are we going to see this Kralthor eat up a Zombie Crawler? First, the Skeleton Archer does move into attack. Gets Piercing 1, deals 2 damage to this Kralthor. I mean, as soon as his idol is dead, this should have 2 damage on it as well. I should probably have sit in on these games judging, but that's okay. New player, that sort of thing. Looks like the Reclamation's not automating. Keejchen just giving him a break. Druid does target the idol, gets it up to 6 damage out of 11. And it looks like, hang on a second, let's pause here really quick. The Necromancer did actually target the Druid here. Rolled 2 damage in that Necromancer. And Kralthor is moving in, looks like to take out the Skeletal Archer. Rolls 5 damage, putting him to 5 out of 9 with 0 armor here. It looks like SirMagic might need to start spending up a saving up mana to start that Eternal Servant issue here. Zombie Crawler attacks the Druid with a bite. Rolls 3 dice, gets 2 damage through that Rhino Hide, saving 2 extra damage. This is really the power of armor here. I mean, think about it this way. You spent 4 mana on this, and you just saved 2 damage this round. And, I mean, the Necromancer could have dealt some normal damage, but it was pretty good. Force Hammer comes in, does wipe out that Idol of Pestilence. Idol of Pestilence going down. That's going to save a ton of damage now to the 3 creatures, saving Tattery's life, who's at 2 out of 3 damage here. And there should be 2 damage. He did catch up. I knew he'd catch it. Yeah, all the automation isn't on Octagon yet, but I think Shark's working on it right now to make sure it's fixed. At least it's in the notes for him too. Which I suppose soon we're gonna have the Octagon module completed after this playtesting project. It's kind of exciting. So all these little hiccups in terms of automation it'll be easier than playing in real life. Just put it that way. Alright, so Kralthor is at 4 out of 13 damage. Druid's at 7 out of 34. And that Deathlock is at 4 damage here. And they're planning. It's a little intense right now for the Necromancer. I mean, he kind of has to save up mana if he can to reanimate this guy, but he's probably going to lose this Archer this round. And you know, with Thorn Lasher coming out, he's just going to keep moving things out of position. Living Armor comes out for the Druid, putting him up at 5 armor. And if you didn't know, Living Armor is getting an errata. You basically have to pay 1 mana to gain 2 armor tokens during upkeep, instead of just getting it for free. And that's kind of the trade-off that we're giving it for this. Granted, 4 mana for 3 armor is still insane. That being said, Enfeeble is placed onto the Druid. Keejchen says, okay, that's fine, I'm going to move 1 zone, making sure that the Zombie Crawler can't do another attack, and that the Skeleton Knight can't move an attack either. Acid Ball does get placed on against the Druid. We see, let's see, Acid Ball, there's 2 armor tokens on it, and a Rhino Hide. If it gets 2 corrodes, that would be ideal, which is just a 4 up on the effect roll. The SirMagic just doesn't know the interface here. You basically have to shift, click, and drag your mage to the target in order to automate that. Yeah. Alright, let's go and make this times 25. There we go. And we do see 2 corrodes go down. That does take care of the Rhino Head. Now, the strong thing about Living Armor is that it can actually get rid of corrodes. In the sense of, if you have corrodes that deal with the Living Armor, as opposed to the Rhino Eye, which is this case, and they attack you, your armor can go back down to 0 or negative, because you lose an armor token every time you get attacked. So it has kind of a built-in anti-corrode feature, which is kind of nice about this armor here. Granted, every time you get attacked, your armor does go down. So right now, Keejchen is sitting at 1 armor here from an Acid Ball. And it looks like we're going to have a Skeleton Knight guard the Idol. I'm sorry, the Deathlock. I don't really agree with that move. I honestly think moving down 1 and guarding was probably the better choice. He tried to move Eternal Servant. It's funny. That's okay. Kralthor does take out that Skeletor Archer and gains a growth marker because of that. Still has a Deathlock on him, but the innate life, really Kralthor is just a counter to Deathlock in a lot of ways. Because most of the things you're fighting are probably non-living because of the finite life trait. And the ability to gain innate life is pseudo-healy-ish. And just lets you survive longer. Not to mention the melee one is really nice. So this is a really classic move from Druid. Thorn Lashers in the center zone is actually really powerful. Basically, the ability to snatch anything in these like surrounding zones gets pretty crazy when you want to like control the board. So ideally what you do here is you place like a Vine Snapper or a wall and then another Thorn Lasher here, or even just Orchids. And then you just pull things in and then you just hit a bunch of damage. Like you basically just like crowd control them with tons of plants. Like Orchids, their ability to generate extra actions before your enemy has a chance to act is actually insanely powerful. Like right now, like Druid quick casting like an Acid Orchid, and then Thorn Lashering the Necro in, and then being like, okay, I'm gonna hit you with acid, and then get rid of, let's just say, your Libro. Like those are the kind of combos you do with Thorn Lasher. And it looks like we're gonna see the other way. This is an interesting method here too. The Bloodspine Wall. God, it just is kind of like, you know, in video games where like, especially like platformers, where you kind of have to jump up Otherwise, you fall into a pit of death. Basically, this Thorn Lasher is behind that pit of death and just pulls you through it. And, like, you just take insane damage from these Bloodspine walls. So we're going to see what happens with that. Dispel does go down to that Reclamation. Deathlike, so it's at 6 out of 9. So it is almost dead here. I'm sure Keejchen probably doesn't actually really care that much. You know, honestly, he doesn't have that many creatures that are really affected by this. Because Crowthor's pseudo-healing with that innate growth markers. And, I mean, honestly, a Thorn Lasher has so much life for its mana. He probably is just like, whatever, do what you want. And we do see the Thorn Lasher attack this dog here, getting 5 damage in that roll. Dang, out of the 3 dice. And it is going to get a pull as well. So he's going to get additional 3 damage. This is exactly what I mean. It's a meat grinder, man. Like, these Bloodspine walls just deal so much damage. Another 3 dice going on 0 armor here. And with that one attack, he took out a Death Fang instantly. SirMagic has no mana to reanimate this Death Fang. And it's kind of my example and why I was talking about it that way. And you know, this combo here is one of the things that makes the Druid just insanely powerful. So if you're looking for Druid ideas, just try it out. Like Thorn Lasher, Bloodspine Wall, Thorn Lasher. I mean, some people do what's called the train, where you just do like Thorn Lasher, Bloodspine, like all throughout a zone, and you just run them back and forth. Especially with spells like, you know, like Tar Trap and stuff. Insanely good. The Overgrowth does get placed onto Kralthor. Now, Life plus 2 doesn't actually affect it because it's not innate life. But he does get an extra melee, which he's probably looking to one-shot Zombie Crawler. So he has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dice going down. He needs 4, only gets 3 damage out. That Resilient trait, of course, really benefiting him. And it looks like there is a counter attack going down, a bite with only 1 armor. Kind of stinks a little bit, but Kralthor goes up to 7 out of, what is this? Plus 3, 16 life. So not too bad, but he'll probably be able to kill this guy next round, especially because Keejchen has initiative. I still have to disagree with the Skeleton Knight being here. I actually think Skeleton Knight should be attacking this wall, attacking Kralthor, going after this Thorn Lasher. It's sitting here, protecting Deathlike isn't actually doing anything with this, and that's 13 mana in your board that's basically sitting. Anyway, they're planning right now. Let's see what they figure out here. But yeah, I mean, Druid has a, in my opinion, in this game, pretty dominating board position. It's not over yet. The Enfeeble kind of hurts the Druid, but I mean, with the ability to have spreading vines, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And it looks like we do have the Living Armor go there. Did he pay the mana? I don't think he paid the mana. That jerk. It's okay. Anyway, we see another zombie crawler come out. And you know, these are actually pretty good creatures in the sense of guarding one zone. But I prefer the skeletal minions myself. Because, you know, you just start with 3 dice, you have more life, and you're actually mobile. I mean, granted, you don't have resilient, so they might die faster, but I don't know, that's just my take on it. Alright, we do have leather boots coming out for the Necromancer, putting him up at 1 armor. Necromancer's untouched so far, which Keejchen's just playing the, I'm going to take out everything you own, that zombie crawler, getting owned here. Gaining another growth marker. He's going to roll 9 dice against undead. That's pretty insane. And if you look here, Keejchen placed a Thorn Lasher here from his vine tree. What he wants to do is he wants to pull the creature down, and then he wants the other creature to push him through the Bloodspine wall. And that's the meat grinder thing we were talking about earlier. Looks like the spray of barbs does get placed here. Interesting enough, he has to actually target this zone, I believe. You target a zone containing the friendly vine. I mean, he could have just targeted this, but that's fine. So basically, it extends your range. It doesn't allow you to cast it from that. So we'd have to basically be like this. Yeah, he's Furnace. Get it? Got it. So I mean, think about spreading vines as 0 to target vine as the range instead of target vine and then using your range. That's basically what they're talking about. Looks like he's going to target this Deathlock. Probably one of the best spells to use against Deathlock because of the Piercing 2 double strike. So that is going to be a dead Deathlock from that. Mana well spent, 4 mana on a, what was that, 9 mana for Deathlock. And then he also did cast a Reclamation that got dispelled. So, I mean, overall, probably advantageous for Keejchen. I think Magic got decent use out of it, but just didn't take out any targets from that. So now Regenerate's going to start affecting, and I honestly think that this game's already run away with him. Looks like, yep, the Thorn Lasher does pull in the Skeleton Knight. A defense roll was made, but nothing, of course, happens. He should have probably guarded here, because your guard does continue if you're snatched, because you don't lose guards from range attacks. Not necessarily, it may not matter, because the Druid can't even go in melee, and there's nothing around. I suppose if it would only matter if this Thorn Lasher pulled him this way, and then the Krailthor moved up to attack him, and then he'd be on guard to attack back. But, anyway. This is kind of the trap of zombie crawlers. Because they're slow, you end up wasting a lot of turns just trying to get them in a position that your opponent's like, I'm going to walk away from this. And, it's kind of like in like any zombie movie where like, the person's looking at this zombie slowly crawling and it's like, just run away. That's exactly what these crawlers are. And the Raptor Vine does come out. Now, the nice thing about plant creatures is that they actually are really efficient for their cost. It's just the movement of them cost things. Like that upper one, like paying 1 mana to get movement, it's kind of expensive. But this is why that Thorn Lasher we're talking about is so good. Because he just, he controls this whole center area. So this Raptor Vine may never have to get up. I would personally have preferred the Vine Snapper more. Because it's a little bit cheaper for basically the same effect. But he wants to get up and move around, so I get it. Looks like another spell is cast from the Druid onto the Druid. I'm guessing this is a Bark Skin. And we do have a Snatch on the Necromancer. No damage goes through. So he's going to have to move down here. And I think what Keejchen's trying to do is basically put bleeds on him. Like, he's probably going to try to snatch him here and then Krailthor him. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. So he's going to take 2 damage, and then he's going to take an additional 3 piercing 2 with a chance to bleed. Does get the bleed, and 5 damage off that. Holy cow, dude. 7 damage from that. Total on the Necro. And a bleed now. And healing is sometimes a little rough for the Necromancer. And we do see the Skeletal Knight go after the Thorn Lasher, and that 11 life is insane, by the way. Even getting 5 damage through, that's not that big of a deal in my opinion. Krailthor moves up, rolls 7 dice, gets 5 more damage than the Necromancer, putting him at 12 out of 32. And this game is quickly running away for Keejchen here. Let's see, he does still have an action. Magic still has a quick as well. We see a Surging Wave go through with the Hawkeye getting revealed, 4 dice. Does get the slam. No push though. So if he does have an attack spell for a 16 mana, he now can't use it. And will it matter? Is he going to use his quick? He's got 16 mana here. It is actually an enchantment, so we can do this. Very nice, very nice. And let's see, it is a Ghoul Rot. Okay. Ghoul Rot's basically going to cancel out the life transfer. So Keejchen's kind of at 6 now. Probably until he can dispel this. Most likely until the end of the game. I think he's probably just going to try to deal as much damage as possible. SirMagic is at 16 now out of 32. We're at the half damage warning part of the game. And this is all from 1 round of damage. Like, what I mean is this meat grinder here, it's insane. So what we're going to see here if the Necromancer doesn't get out, is probably a snatch attempt here, snatch attempt back, and then another Cradle Thrower hit, and this game might actually be over at that point. Granted, this zombie crawler is in a weird position now. I don't think he can actually do anything to affect much. This Cradle Thrower is healing up all the damage it took. Another Thorn Lasher goes down. My guess is Keejchen casts something to flip this guy's action marker. And we do have a Plague Zombie going down. A little expensive for a creature, but honestly, if you look at the zone, being able to affect 2 other creatures is decent with that. Burst of Thorns does go down 0 to 2 range. So he's just looking to just deal as much damage as possible. 4 dice, piercing 1, no armor basically for the Necro. We do have a bleed that goes down and 4 damage, putting him at 20 damage, 2 bleeds. Insanely good. And this might be over this round. Very well could be over. Yeah, normally the healing you see out of Necromancer is usually regen built. And of course, if you do want healing, you usually see in the form of dark healing, like some sort of drain soul, drain life, that sort of thing. Looks like Thorn Lasher is going to attack the Necromancer. We do see 2 more damage going down. The Bloodspine Wall is going to roll 3 more dice, getting additional 1 damage, and a 3rd bleed on the Necro. Necromancer's at 23 out of 32. We might see the Raptor Vine deal 5 dice here. Let's see what happens here. He is slammed, so regardless, when he does activate, he's going to be dazed. So if he plans on using an attack spell, it's going to hurt a lot. So he is going to use an attack spell. Interesting. So first he has to make this a daze, and this is a zone attack. And if you didn't know, the way you use zone attacks is you roll the daze chance, and it either affects the zone or misses completely. So this is actually kind of a big dice roll here. In terms of, can he actually damage anything? So he does need to roll daze first. I guess he's not going to. All right. That's fine. I don't think that'll really affect this game too much, to be honest. Okay. Another. They're just spreading out this damage here. Let's go ahead and just get through this really fast. He's targeting everything. Damage goes through. And it looks like the Raptor Vine then goes to attack this Necromancer. Does he whiff? Yep. Oh no, he attacked the zombie and did. What? Okay, regardless, damage is happening. This Thorn Lasher pulls the Druid or the Necro through, deals a bunch of damage, gets another bleed, and this game is over. I mean, sorry, there's basically just a bunch of attacking that happened here. I think during upkeep, this game will be done, and that'll be it. Considering that the Necro's out of actions has 4 bleeds and only has a Witchwood Iron Vine for any sort of mitigation, so that's just it. And of course, this tournament is single elimination, so SirMagic, good playing. Hope to see you in the Octagon games in the future. Keejchen is a long-time veteran, so well played, Keejchen. This is, of course, just a fantastic game that he had going on here. Druid, kind of dominating this. This is the card I was talking about, Rouse the Beast. He was probably going to rouse this Thorn Lasher and just, like, bring him back through again. But overall, a fine game from these guys. And, yeah, so questions, comments, things about playtesting. That's the whole point of this tournament, is to really see where our balance is right now. So feel free to leave some comments below. Otherwise, thank you for joining us for this, it's our last Arena Monk and Elementalist tournament set. It's a playtesting set. So I'm Coshade. You guys have a good day. Check out the other games on our playlist here.